another fun day of the Poor Man's Bodywork series.
Good morning. How you doing today? Welcome to part number 10 of side and rear quarter area work. Now, there's some changes here, as there is always changes on my, whether it be a project, building something, or in this case the bodywork. I was going to use the great stuff behind here. Now, I did put some rubberized undercoating. I sprayed it up under there. So if I put the great stuff in there, the great stuff is going to be against the rubberized undercoating. So there is no, if moisture gets in there, it's not going to be able to get to the metal because it got the undercoating. But I'm not going to use the great stuff, as long as I can get this wheel off. This tool, if you watch the review of this tool, I showed that I got 3 of the bolts out and then I put them back in again. I didn't jack it up or anything, just took one at a time off, and it proved that I could get them off, no problem. When I went to the front, the studs are longer, so I had to go out and go to Advanced Auto. It cost me almost 25 bucks, well, over 25 with the tax. Autocraft is what these are called, the deep well impact half-inch drive sockets. Harbor Freight has them too, but I'm leery of Harbor Freight sockets and wrenches for anything like that, and I figured maybe if I went to Advanced Auto, I would get something good. AutoZone don't carry deep well. They're getting very limited on their stuff. So Advanced Auto seems to be a good place. That's where I got the white paint, the Ford paint from. So we're going to take this wheel off. Then I'm going to make some sheet metal pieces and put it in here. Then I'm going to take some roof cement I got in a caulking gun, and I'm going to pack it in there with roofing cement, put the metal in there. If I can wedge it in there tight, I won't have to pop rivet it or screw it or anything. And then we'll hit the whole thing with rubberized undercoating. Now, on that left rear quarter, down below on the bottom, after I took the bumper off, if you watch the video series as it's been going along, when I did that sheet metal work, I sprayed that rubberized undercoating underneath that. And now the rubberized undercoating is all dry, don't get on your hands anymore, and it firmed up, and that's what I want. So it acts like a glue also, so if I wedge this metal in there tight enough, it should be good. Then when the water runs down here on this lip, down on the inside, it's going to run over that metal and down. At the very bottom, I want to leave a little space so if water does get in there, it can get out. The main concern is when this wheel is going around, it's throwing sand and salt and everything up under here, and I don't want it to get down in here because that's what happened before. Less talk, let's get to work. All right, we'll take the hubcap off, but we're not going to do any impacting yet until I get the jacks and the jack stand under there. I have 2 of these jack stands, I only need 1. I had this jack stand since, let's say the early 70s. I stand corrected. Early 80s. I have another set that's still sitting over in the cellar of the old house where I used to have my workshop. They go back to the 60s. They're basically the same thing. Right? All right. I'm going to set the jack up underneath there, and then we'll get our 13/16 deep well in here. Now, I want to show you something on the studs here. On the 90 Ford van, these studs don't stick out quite as much. That's how I was able to get them off with the shallow well impact socket. But on the front one over there, the studs come out a good 1/2 inch, 3/8 to a 1/2 inch longer, and it doesn't allow me to get the socket on there. So we've got the right sockets here. and we're going to use them. But before we do that, we got to get up underneath to get the jack stand set and jack this thing up. All right, the first thing we're going to do, need a couple of 2x6s here. I'll leave about 3/4 of an inch of space so we don't jam up against the tire here. And we set our bottle jack. Now, the problem with these vans, you got a round axle here, and you can't get a jack in there. So what you got to do is jack on the spring, but I got to be careful of this brake line here, and I don't hit the brake line and bust it up. I could work on the other side, but it's very, very difficult to get in there. So we're going to do it with that. We can't do it with one hand here. We got to turn this out so we can hit this. So we get more blocks under there. I don't like to put too many blocks under there. And then we put the jack stand. We're going to have to put the jack stand in here. That should be good. All right, we'll get you a little steadier picture here. Camera was getting bumped all over the place here. We put the jack stand here. Oh, it'll take the weight of the... I wish the jack had a little thing on the top, you know, cup to receive the axle. Then I'll be able to jack it up right here. All right, we're going to jack this up, and we'll come back on the video in a minute. We're wasting a lot of time here videotaping. That's the problem. I talk too much detail, not enough action. But you have to jack it up safely, so that's what I had to do, and I had to make sure that the ground was level. I had to move the van over a little bit because it's parked in ruts. So I was on an angle trying to get the jack under. All right, we got most of the weight on the jack stand, and we still got a little weight on here. You only can jack it up on the spring, and we're about 2 inches away from the brake line, so it'll be okay. We got 4 pieces of 2x6. We leveled the ground off a little bit. The jack is nice and straight, and the wheel is off the ground. All right, let's get a 13/16. I don't have my magnifier. I'll guess. Let's see. Hey, got it. That's got to be it, because this is 3/4 here. That's not going to fit, so we got it. We got it. Oh, I hope this works. All right. Let's get over here. Oh, I better get you a little closer here. A little rickety here, so sorry about that. It's on the cardboard. All right. Now let's see. Reverse is the top. Three down, 2 to go. Four down, 1 to go. All right. Now we're going to put these nuts where we won't lose them. All right. Okay. Now I can work in here. We can inspect the brakes, but I'm not going to go through that. Probably got a ridge on them and I'd have to adjust it. I don't get into that stuff. I usually let a garage do it now. I'm getting too damn old for this stuff. I've done many drum brakes. I like drum brakes. I don't have any problem with them. Disc brakes, I'm not good at. It's supposed to be easier, but I never could. Drum brakes, no problem, especially on a vehicle this size. On a small car, well, I think the Ford Tempo, I think the rear brakes were drum, and everything's so confined in there that it was very hard to get at anything. But now, what I can do is work in this area here. I can get myself in here, and what I'm going to do is to put a piece of sheet metal in here. I'm going to check it out off camera, see if I can get something in there. I don't know how well you can see that, but the area we're looking at is between this area where my little finger is and this here. All right, I'm going to work up underneath there with a wire wheel. This is in pretty good shape. We're just going to get the dirt out of it, and then I'm going to hit it with undercoating. Now when I get down to this area, which you really can't see, it's got kind of like some stuff in here that I shoved in, so we're going to try to grind a little bit there, and I'll be putting some metal in there, so when the water runs down on this, it'll run over it and not behind it. And then, like I say, at the bottom here, I'll leave about 3/4 of an inch, so water can drain out if water does get in there. But I just want to keep the sand and salt from getting in that area, because there is a space there, and it's probably about 3/4 to an inch, feels like it, till it comes to the back of this metal. There's supposed to be an inside panel there of some sort, so we're not sure exactly, but because the original one was long gone. Oh, damn wrist. The wrist is hurting me today. It was that way when I got up this morning. No strength in my hands at all. I can never see. I always get the plugs in wrong. Always. And did you ever have that where you put the plug in and it's wrong, you got to go the other way? All right, we got a small wire wheel on here. That's all we need.